I wish that Franklin D. Roosevelt had lived to see this day. General Eisenhower informs me that the forces of Germany have surrendered to the United Nations. The flags of freedom fly all over Europe.
Today, May 8th, is the anniversary of the end of World War II in Europe, known here as VE Day. This is an important date for me because it has a lot to do with the very first American hero I came to know, an American Army officer in the terrible fight against Hitler's Nazi legions. He went to war as a U.S. Army second lieutenant and came home as a major. He was my dad. My mom, my mother of 3 combat vets, used to tell us, "What happened to you guys? It took you 15 years to make major. Your father went off to war as a second lieutenant, came back as a major. What's wrong with you boys?" I'd say, "Mom, it was World War II for crying out loud." And she'd say, "Well, you boys have all been in combat. What's wrong with you?" Well, on May 8th, 1945, my father was an infantry officer in the U.S. Army's 95th Infantry Division. He and my mom had met at a USO event in 1941. They were married in 1942, and I was born in San Antonio, Texas in 1943, after he went overseas to help prepare for liberating France. He was in the U.S. Army's 95th Infantry Division, which landed in Normandy in September 1944, and was in nearly non-stop combat until VE Day, May 8, 1945. In October-November of 1944, as part of Patton's Third Army, the 95th Infantry Division was credited with seizing a crucial bridgehead across the Moselle River and capturing the heavily fortified fortress city of Metz. For the next 6 months, the Iron Men of Metz had a reputation as the river crossers, and it was enhanced by seizing the Saar River Bridge in December of 44, a flanking attack which helped end Hitler's dream of reaching the English Channel in the Battle of the Bulge. During February and March of 45, the 95th was key to forcing the Allied crossing of the Rhine River over the infamous Hitler Bridge. And on 3 April, my dad's regiment assaulted across the Lippe River and captured the cities of Hamm and Kamen, sites vital to Hitler's war production. By May 8, 1945, the day of the German High Command's unconditional surrender was announced, now known as VE Day. The 95th Infantry Division, my dad included, was holding the city of Dortmund, Germany, north of the Ruhr River. Until he died in 1984, my brothers, sister, and I had never read his citation for the Silver Star, our nation's 3rd highest award for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity in action against enemy forces. It was presented for his valor in the 1944 fight for Metz. Nor had we read the letter he sent to our mom on 8 May 1945, VE Day, in which he wrote, "Thank God this part of our war is finally over, but it's not over for all of us. The 95th has yet another task, but at least we'll be home for a while and we'll be together. I hope to be with you soon. I love you." The ominous final sentence of his letter was all the censors would allow. What my dad, by then a regimental staff officer, apparently already knew was highly classified information that the 95th Infantry Division, respected for its experience crossing enemy-held waterways, had already been selected by the Joint Chiefs of Staff to be one of the First Army's assault divisions for the invasion of the Japanese home island of Honshu. It was to take place on the 1st of November, 1945. The 95th Infantry Division returned to the U.S. from Germany on the 29th of June, 1945. But instead of going home, my dad and his comrades in arms went to Camp Shelby, Mississippi, to begin training for Operation Olympic, the invasion of Japan. To say that he and his troops were deeply disappointed at the inability to go home now that the war in Europe was won had to be the very definition of the word understatement.
Much remains to be done. The victory won in the West must now be won in the East. The power of our peoples to defend themselves against all enemies will be proved in the Pacific War as it was proved in Europe.
This meant World War II wasn't yet over for my dad and his 95th Infantry Division. My dad's infantry division was slated to become an assault division against the Japanese home islands, an event expected to cause 1 million casualties on each side. It was my dad, a real American hero, who told my brothers and me, the American heroes I know don't serve for political reasons. They serve and care more about our country than themselves.